Start off just with taking the arms out in front, and we're just going to squeeze them forwards and back. So this can be done if you can just be seated. I'm obviously on my knees, that's not going to work for everybody. You might be coming up on your knees, or you might just be in a seated position at this point, or you could be standing. We'll just do our shoulders, work into the shoulder joint mobility, help to improve that, really trying to release them off. And try not to lift them up, try to keep them down, keep them nice and relaxed, and then bring the arms down. So then we take the arms out and bring them up and down. So up and breathe out. So let's breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Last one. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is just take one arm and just circle. And it's just going to get slightly higher. Circles get a bit larger, but keep it controlled, and then coming back down. Then change over to the other side. So I didn't change direction, did I? Okay. This one, what we'll do is we'll change direction as we get to the top here. We'll change direction and come down. So the rest of the body stays nice and stable. Navel slightly to spine, and bring the arm down. Okay. So, we're doing a reach up. So we're going to reach and reach. So when we're doing that, what we're trying to do is just stretch sort of from the ribs upwards, but keep the pelvis stable. So you can feel your abdominals working a little bit. Last one. And bring the arms down. And then one thing we did do when we were in standing warm-up last night, we did use a band. So it's up to you, you don't have to have a band, or you could use a weight actually. So if you've got any other equipment, if you've got a loop band, the long bands that we normally use, or a little weight, so 1 kilogram, 1.5, half a kilogram, whatever you want. So what happens is we bring one hand up towards the chest. We're going to just grab onto the band with the other hand, and we're just going to push away and come back up. So this is working our triceps. So again, try to do it nicely in control. This is, Pilates is a controlled, all the movements are controlled. They're not manic movements, they're not rushed. You need to be thinking about what you're doing with your body. So I want to feel the work should be into the triceps, which is the backs of the arms. I think we'll do this as a last one. Okay, so roll the shoulders and we'll change over to the other side. So holding on and squeeze away. And the other thing to think about is try not to slump down, come back up, roll the shoulders back. So keep the shoulders rolled back. And think about breathing as well. Out and in. Breathing out through the mouth, in through the nose. We'll do 2 more. 2. Okay. Oh, the other thing we could do is, we've got a choice of doing dumb waiter without let's do it without first. So if you have got the band, just leave it there. Thinking about the elbows in line with your hands. So try not to go down or up with the hands, keep them in line. Let's roll the shoulders up and back, down your back. And we're going to squeeze and release. So we're keeping the elbows into the body, into the sides. Breathing out and in. We're going to do 2 more, and if you've got a band or if you've got your weights, you can use those. If not, just stay with what you're doing without the band. So again, roll the shoulders up, back and down your back, and then squeeze. So I'm just going to, that's it. I'm used to doing it with one of the blue single bands. This is actually quite tough. So I'm not going to go too far out. Okay. You could add a couple of pulses in. So we're going to pulse, pulse, and back in. We do 2 more. I'm feeling this. Are you? And relax. And just roll each shoulder. Let's put that band out of the way. So I've had enough of sitting on my knees now. That's getting painful. So I think what we'll do, we're going to come down on our backs. So we'll just follow on with some of the work we did last night. We'll do a few differences. Or we'll add a bit more in as well for those of you, because we only did about 40 minutes last night, so it's just nice to have a bit of extra. So we're going to roll down, and we're coming into crib position. So you might be able to hear me a bit louder now because I have the microphone quite close, so it'd be good to see or to get your feedback of whether that makes much of a difference. I think it's nice to have it's nice to have clarity in, having a clear voice, so you know what you're doing, especially if you're not able to look at what I'm doing. Okay, so we're nice and relaxed. Knees are bent, feet are hip width apart, all the normal things. Feet are flat on the floor. Knees are hip width apart too, so we're not in knock knees position. Finding neutral spine. So we're going to just stretch, push the back into the floor, then release. And push until you get that sort of midway point. And it will depend, everybody will be in a slightly different position with their backs, so I can get my hands under, but not everybody will. Roll each shoulder. Then I think we'll start with rib cage closure. So if you've got a ball or any sort of weights, little weights that is, like half a kilogram, you could put them now into your arms, into your hands, and if not, just hands are up, arms are up, palms facing inwards, and when you're ready, keeping that neutral spine position, take a breath in, breathing out, stretching back. So let's think about the ribs, the back stays in the same position, breathe in and breathe out. So here, look at what's happening here, or think about what's happening there. If you start to lift the back like that, that is not going to be good. So I want you to keep that neutral spine position, keep the abdominals working, and just follow through. Feel the abs work. And just keep going, just keep the neck relaxed. This will be your last one. And then bring the arms down by your side. Lovely. Okay, so from that position, let's just do a few of our stretches. So it's just nice to stretch opposite arm to leg. Keeping, again, it's just focusing on that neutral spine when you get started. Just want to feel the abdominals working. Lots of noise in the background, unfortunately, because one of my kids is in the kitchen making food. Luckily I closed the door here. Okay, so this will be the last one. And then just readjustment if you need to. And then let's come up into tabletop position. So I always like to think that we're trying to imprint the back because if we try and leave the back up slightly, it just doesn't really always protect yourself when you're tapping with your toes. So abdominals engaged, breathe out, breathe in. Again, it's all about concentration and precision of the move. These are some of the elements that Joseph Pilates focused on. Definitely the precision. So what I see quite often in class is that people bring their toes sort of down close to their bottom, because that obviously does make it a lot easier. So they come down like that. Whereas what we want to try and do is keep that 90-degree bend and come further away and bring it up. Of course, you have to use your abdominals a lot more strongly to do that. We'll do 2 more, so 1 on each side. I can feel that, so we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Lovely. Bring one foot down at a time. And then we're going to come up into our kind of almost like our ab prep position, but take the elbows behind. We're going to lift, so engaging the abdominal muscles. And then we're going to bring one leg up to tabletop and the other. We're going to try what we did last night. We're just going to go into our scissors. I can hear myself clicking. Okay, we'll try to talk over the clicking of my hip. I think it's my hip, or isn't this? It's my knees. So we're engaging the abdominals as we do this. And don't forget to breathe. Inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth. Looking between the thighs. And then after this one, bring the knees into the chest, coming back down. Everything's clicking. And just take the back from side to side. And then just bring 1 foot down at a time. So I'm just having a look. Forgotten what we're doing now. Stretch up. Yeah, shoulder. Yeah, okay. Next thing we're going to do is shoulder bridge. So taking the block away, feet are flat on the floor, just going to work on that basic bridge position. So we're just going to, using the glute muscles, first of all we're going to push the back slightly down to the floor, use the glute muscles, squeeze to lift the hips. So I don't want you to be up in that position, because that's really going to work on your back, put pressure on your back. So let's just start again. We just want to squeeze the glutes and lift to where the glutes will take you. So it's a much lower position. And then rolling back down through the vertebrae. So through the vertebrae all the way up and then down. So I like to just do this just to get, it just helps mobilisation of the vertebrae of the spine. That's just quite nice. Get the glutes working. And then we're going to stay up in that position now. Shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to lift both heels and lower. Lift, lower, lift. So keeping the hips raised. You can just feel the thighs working, the glutes working. So I just remembered those because I was losing the glutes. The glutes weren't working so hard then. I can feel my calves stretching. Last one. And let's roll back down through the vertebrae. Stretch the legs if you need to. Righty-ho. Okay, well, let's do something else in this position actually. Let's take one leg up, the other one stays where it is, and we're going to use just one side and back down. So squeeze into the glutes to lift and lower. Do 2 more. And bend that knee. Change over to the other side. And squeeze, squeeze. You could put your finger in, you'll feel the muscles working. I'll do 2 more. It's very easy to tense the shoulders, so try not to. Okay, and let's bring the knees into your chest. And then from that position, let's roll up to seated position. Lovely. So we go onto our sides. So last night we did some work on our inner thighs and glutes. So I think what we'll do the same thing, and I'll bring another exercise in. So when you're doing work on inner thighs, we bring the top leg across and we come down onto our sides. But if you've got a bigger block or 2 smaller blocks or a pillow, a cushion, it's always a good idea. And the reason being, I'll just come down first, is that when you come down into this position, it's quite easy to end up like this with our hips. So what you're going to see is your hip bone here is not in line with the bone underneath, and so they're not stacked. We like to have the joints stacked. So this just helps you get into a better position. And sometimes you can just feel it actually. And stretching out. So next thing, we're going to pull that navel in towards the spine. We're going to lift the waist off slightly. And then when you're ready, that leg that's straight, the leg that's underneath, we're going to flex the foot and we're going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. Think about your breath, so breathing out and in. Out through the mouth, in through the nose. So all the time, trying to remember to do everything. Again, this is thinking about precision, thinking about what we're doing, are we doing it precisely? So again, thinking about what's happening here. Is my waist still trying to lift? Can I feel the abdominals quite engaged? And I think what I'm going to do, I've lost count as normal. We're going to lift, hold that position, and we're going to pulse. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax for a second. Just a second, point the leg, point the foot, and we're going to circle. Again, focusing on this area. Are we still putting the navel in? Are we still lifting the waist? So I'm feeling that now. Are you? Let's change direction. Try not to give up. Keep going. 2. We'll just do 3 more. 2. And 1. Yeah, I can feel that too. Okay. And let's change. So I'm just going to take that out of the way. change over now. So we're in a similar position, but the top leg now is the one that's our working leg. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to flex the foot, we're going to bring it into what we call a leg kick. So just make readjustments if you need to. I forgot to say, don't forget about lifting the waist, pull the navel in. So it will depend, flexibility. Some people can kick, quite far forwards. Doesn't matter that if you can't, it's got nothing to do with your flexibility. You do what you feel comfortable and what your body can do. And you should feel, I don't know, I feel the stretch. I'd probably say I feel that in the calf muscles as I come forwards. So after this one, so this is quite an advanced move. We bring that leg forward, we hold that position, but all my class are used to this. We're going to lift and lower, lift and lower. So if this is too much for you, you can make it easier by bringing the leg back a bit, and that will make it a lot easier. So it's up to you. I think what we'll do 4 more. 3, 2, 1, and hold that position. Quite advanced again. We're going to bring the knee in and push. So micro pushes. Last one. Bring the leg back. Give yourselves a pat. Well done. Right, okay, so I think we'll do one more exercise in this position. I think what would be quite nice to do is if you've got your big block or if you've got your double blocks, I'm going to see if I can do this without hitting the microphone. So I'm going to come down a little bit. I don't usually have this block at Pilates, and I might hit the wall, I'm not sure, probably not. So we're in a similar position, both arms are out in front. If you've got your webcam on, if you can see yourself, it's quite good, because especially at this point when I'm not, running the classes in Norton, and we're all doing it at home. So we're going to do open book. So this is working, sort of helping to stretch the pec, the chest muscles and shoulder, and it's quite a nice one to do if you work in an office environment. You're looking at a screen all day, etc., etc. Forward head posture. So we're going to take the arm behind. Keep the chin tucked. Take the arm only to where the shoulder will let you. So what a lot of people like to do is they like to do this. But that's another move. So let's have another go. See if I can keep my top down. Breathe out. Hold that position. Breathe in. And then breathe out. I don't normally do this, and I normally get my class to do this one, and I just walk around and check. So it's very rare that I do this one myself, which is not very good, is it? Breathe out. So it's quite nice to actually do it. I just hope I'm doing it correctly and I'm just touching the wall there. Try and keep my back in. See, that's even I was doing it then. You can get a good stretch. Again, this one can be done with little weights. I wouldn't go too heavy. Yeah, try and keep that back stable. This will be now your last one. Lovely. Okay, that's good. So we're going to come up to seated position, and we're going to change over and do the same things on the other side. So I'm just going to move that over. So we're starting off with the inner thigh work first. So we're bringing that top knee, don't forget it's the top one, and bringing our arms behind underneath. Okay, so once you feel you're in the right position, lifting the waist. And then we're going to start with flexing the foot, navel to spine first, lift and lower. I'm just going to move the microphone slightly, so it might make a bit of noise. I think the good one to do to this is to do the pulses. So what we're going to do, we're going to hold it up, hold that position, and we're going to pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And then we go straight into circle, so point the foot and circle. Again, nice, sort of good, a generous circle, so you can really feel the inner thighs working. And then we'll change direction, keeping the hips stable all the time. Always think about that. Abdominals are working well if they're keeping your hips stable. So last one. Perfect. Okay, just take the big block away. Okay, this time, just making that slight change, we're going to flex the foot. Top leg now is working, bottom leg is the knees bent. We're just going to kick forwards and come back. So let's just see what flexibility you have on this side, because it could be slightly different to your other side. So breathing out as I kick forwards and breathe in to take the leg back. Do you think we've done enough yet? We'll come forwards. Hold that position again. If you want to go back a bit with it, you can. Lift and lower. I'm going to do 2 more, and then we're just going to do those little micro pushes. So we're going to bend the knee and push, bend and push. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Okay, brilliant. And then just give yourselves a pat. Excellent. Then we're going to bring the block under. Just going to move that back slightly over here, actually. Bring both hands out in front. And then when you're ready, breath in, breathe out, take the arm behind, keep that back where it is, feel that stretch. Actually, I should be following it, keeping my head tucked slightly. So just think about sort of chin slightly to the chest and think about looking towards your armpit, as it were. Although it's a little bit, it's much more in the peripheral vision. That's a nice stretch. I think everyone finds that in the class it's quite relaxing. I think this will be the last one. Wonderful. Lovely. Okay, so we're coming up to seated position. We're now on 32 minutes. We've done pretty well. Let's think about what we're going to do next. So yesterday we worked on in our all fours position, so I think we'll do that today. So all fours, shoulder blade dips we'll do first, then we're going to do the knee pulses. We might do something extra. So with all fours position, what we're thinking about is equal weight over the wrists and over the knees. So we always just think about it, just adjustment. So a lot of people when they're in this position might be a bit like this. So the back's sort of relaxed, the tummy's relaxed, everything's hanging out. So what we're trying to do is to pull the navel up a bit and just think about even distribution of weight. And then in this position we do something called shoulder blade dips, which is literally kind of dropping the chest and then lifting, but it's all coming from the shoulders, the shoulder joints. Shoulder blades come in together, push away, in together and away. It's just a nice one to work on shoulder joint mobility. Often that can be quite a stiff area. It's something we quite like to do. Last one. And what we normally do now is just take the weight off the wrist for a second and then coming back. So what we're going to do, you can either come down onto your elbows or onto your hands and your wrists, so it's up to you depending on how your wrists feel. We're going to lift one leg just up slightly higher, and we're going to squeeze and release. So it's only a small, what we call like pulses, pulling the navel up towards the spine, because we don't want to end up with our back sort of like this. We want to try and keep the torso staying in the same place, pelvis stays you know, sort of neutral as it were, not moving around too much. And then bring the knee down. Okay, quick rest, and then on to the other side. Squeeze and release. Lovely. We'll just do a couple more. Brilliant. And then just come down. Quick rest. So let's come down now into prone position. We're going to work on our what we call half plank. So shoulders are over the elbows. We are going to use the deep abdominal muscles to lift the hips off and go into our half plank. So we always keep the knees down. So we take a breath in, breathing out, pull the navel up towards the spine, and that helps to lift you into position. Squeeze the shoulders back, keep breathing. So all the time you should feel the abdominals working to lift. If you start to lift, you know, go back down like this, and you start to feel the back hurting, come back down and start again. And the thing is, if you find it's too difficult, you can literally just lift the tummy off and then bring it back down. So you don't have to go into that, you know, complete lift. It's just good to kind of wake up the abdominals. You can tuck the toes under if you want to. Now people think this is quite an easy move, and because the knees are down, actually it's quite difficult, and especially you can take your elbows a bit further each time, a bit further forwards. You do that now, you're going to probably see that I'm going to be shaking. I'm shaking quite a bit. It's good to see me working, isn't it? It's normally me watching you. And I'm trying to keep that back, and then I'm just, yeah, lovely. And I can feel the abdominals have really worked there. Okay, Wonderful. So I'm going to bring my little block back. And what we did was we did the dart position with a little bit of work for the triceps. So arms are down by your side. Again, we're thinking about lifting, pulling the navel up towards the spine as you lift and squeeze the shoulders back. So as I squeeze the shoulders back, I get my shoulders crack a bit. I think it's my age. And then just hold in that position. You'll keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. And keep pulling the navel up and then releasing down. So we do that one more time. Just basic. You can lift the legs if you want to. Sometimes that's naturally what happens. Also keep the head looking towards your mat. Try not to lift the head or neck. We don't want to do that. And release. This time we're going to lift the arms and do some work on the triceps. So, ready to go. Pull the navel up, breathing out. Arms now, just little pulses upwards so you can feel the triceps working. Keep lifting the navel. Release. Okay. Bring the hands out to your side. Lift up. Bring the knees out. And just come down into a back stretch. Or shell stretch, child pose, whatever you would like to call it. Now we can do a stretch over to the right side, stretching that left arm away. Back into the middle. Over to the left side, stretching the right arm away. And then come up into the middle. So we're just going to finish off on our backs. Now I quite like to finish off this way because we can just stretch the glute muscles. So right leg over the left thigh, drawing the leg towards you. If you can, encourage that knee over here to kind of encourage that away from you to get even better stretch in the glute muscles. And release. Change over to the other side and draw the leg in, just encouraging that knee away. One side's always more or less flexible than the other. This is my less flexible side, as you can probably tell. And release. And just for good measure, shall we do some single leg stretch? So we're going to bring one knee into the chest, straighten the other leg, and changing over. So this is with your head down on the block, which is fine. And if you want to come up into your lifted position, stay in that position if you can. Okay, so we're just making sure we're breathing. I like to breathe out, breathe in, then breathe out, in, out, in. It's hard to do it when you're talking. Last one. Bring the knees into the chest. And again, for good measure, let's just go straight into double leg stretch. So double leg stretch is interesting if you've got your head down. We don't want the back to lift, do we? We want to keep that back imprinted so we can use the abdominals. Breathing out as you stretch away, keeping those abdominals working, keep the back down. But I'm going to come up. Staying up in that position, and so we breathe out and in, and the arms can come in as well, so we go if you need to support your neck, you can do. This is the one that I really feel my abdominals work hard. And bring the knees into the chest. Just a little roll from side to side. Just take the head from one side to the other. And let's roll up to seated. Roll like a ball up to seated. Lovely. So we're coming into the final stages now. We're going to just take, as we've worked on the inner thighs a little bit, we're going to take the feet together and just roll, not roll, encourage the knees out to the side. You can hear a helicopter. Stretching away. Just breathe. Can you feel the abs have worked? Can you feel them tightening up? Mine feel like they've worked, that's good. Twice in 2 days now. We need it at the moment, don't we? Okay, so we'll take our, oh no, we're just going to roll each shoulder. That's a nice crack I heard then. And then we'll take our 2 breaths to finish. So take a breath in and out. And in again. And out. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you very soon.